it's Ebony with Tiny Texas Garden, and today's task is potting up our trees. So we actually got these in the mail after they were delayed for a couple of weeks. But then when they finally got here, we had freezing, and not just freezing, because an apple tree can handle freezing temperatures, but our temperatures were very low. So I decided, instead of putting them outside and risking the trouble, especially since they had already started blooming a little bit, to keep them in water until I could plant them. And I've been raising up the roots periodically to get them some air, so hopefully they're not waterlogged. But as you can see, at least the apple tree has been doing well. Like, it only had little tiny green buds when we received it, and now, I mean, it's got blossoms. So I think it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and pot him up. Hopefully the pomegranate is okay too. Clearly it is still in a dormant state. No buds, no greenery at all. So hopefully once we get it potted up and it has some more time, we'll see some life from it. But I think we'll start with our apple tree. This is just a 5-gallon bucket, nothing special here. I think I'm gonna start them out here, and I debated back and forth. I'm embarrassed to tell y'all how long I debated whether I should start it out in something like this or go ahead and put it in something larger. Like, this is a 17-gallon bucket, which is probably the size that it will end up in eventually. But a lot of things that I read said that you don't want to start the trees out in something too big, because apparently they don't take up the water as well. And so we're going to start smaller, and then after it gets established and the roots become even bigger in this 5-gallon bucket, we'll pot it up into our larger buckets for its final home, assuming that I don't actually decide to stick it in the ground. If I can figure out our sun situation and how I'm going to organize the backyard a little better. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is you always want to make sure you have drainage holes at the bottom of your container, because you don't want your trees to get stuck too much water the whole time. I'm just going to put these rocks over here. Hopefully that'll help with drainage and not let it go out too much. I'm not sure how much success we're going to have, but hopefully keep most of our soil in there. For now, I'm just going to pot them up with some, your average potting soil. You don't want to use your garden soil or bought garden soil, anything like that, because it's too heavy. Your pot won't drain well. It'll just compact and your trees won't be able to breathe. And believe it or not, they do need to breathe. Those roots need to breathe. So I'm going to start by putting a little potting soil down in the bottom of my bucket. And then size up our roots here. See what we got. Woo. God, this was such a monster. And ooh, that water is ripe. I don't know, guys. Maybe we should not put it in this bucket. Maybe we should instead go ahead and put it in this bucket. Okay, let's start with our pomegranate first. Let's do that first. This one seems more straightforward. I'm gonna put him back in the water. Okay, these roots look pretty good. I know some people will go in and they'll prune them if they look broken. I don't see any broken or any obvious concerns of damage. So I think we're gonna let it go. Okay, so I'm gonna need just a lot more dirt to get that one in there. A lot more soil to get him closer to the top. Something the last week or so, I haven't gotten totally sick, but I'm just tired. I get tired real quick. So I'm trying to fight it off before it hits me. We gotta get these into some dirt pronto. Okay, so the goal is to not pot it up beyond too far up the trunk. Okay. And you also don't want air pockets in there, so you want to make sure that it's actually getting soil all the way down through those roots. And I think we'll do a little more. And let's do a little more. Think. I still don't think he's in there very good. Let's see. Okay. Maybe that's pretty good. You always want to push it down. You don't want those air pockets in there. You want them to be good and sturdy. I think that's probably pretty good. Oops, I forgot about my worm castings. These are actually homegrown castings, we'll call them. Just really good for your soil. Some good things down in there. And I also want to water it in really good, like so good that it's draining out of the bottom. And now I've got my hands dirty. I'm gonna water him in real good. So it doesn't get dry, and to make sure that the soil gets moist all the way through. So he can last for a little bit. I'm also going to top this off with some, here we go, with some straw. It's good to mulch because it helps keep moisture in. Oh, I'm making a mess. Helps keep moisture in, which is going to be important, especially when we start getting really warm days here, so that so much moisture doesn't evaporate and we're having to water it 5 times a day, especially since it's not in the ground. If it was in the ground, then we get a lot more of the natural moisture, but with the pots, you have to be more intentional with taking care of the plant because it's not getting the benefit of just the ground doing it itself. So we gotta help it along. All right, little pomegranate. Little pomegranate that good. All right, now, decision time. I had already made the decision. And now I'm gonna have to backtrack, I think. Okay, please let my tree survive. Okay, we're gonna put the apple tree in this big 17-gallon container. Hopefully we're doing the right thing. So we need drainage holes. And that's not an exact science. You just need enough holes for liquid to seep through. So now we got some drainage holes. I don't have enough rocks to cover all of those, but I think we'll be okay, hopefully. Another concern is placement because we don't have enough rocks. That's okay. We'll go with it. If I fill this 17-gallon bucket or pot with soil and a tree and water it down, it's going to be heavy. Eek. And spot, but oh well. All right, here we go. You only live once, right? So, same process. Start with some potting mix down in the bottom. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna water this with this stinky tree water that they've been sitting in once I'm done. Oh, and yeah, it stinks. Okay. Problem. Okay, the roots still look pretty good, best I can tell with my amateur knowledge. I'm gonna put a little bit more soil in there though. Okay, I have enough. But see, when I plan on filling this big old, man, how am I gonna get them centered? I don't know, guys. Okay, well, we're just gonna go for it. I'll keep you posted. If you see anything that you would say, oh no, she should have done something totally different, leave a comment. I'll know next time. Okay, guys, let's roll this up some more. So what is this? So this is a grafted apple tree with 4 different types of apples. We're gonna need more soil. Yes, thank you, cameraman, camera lady, camera girl, camera person, helper. All right, let's see. We might have enough. We might have just enough. Yeah, I think we're gonna end up with maybe just enough. If you I know some people trim the roots. I've seen lots of that going. I'm just too scary to do it just yet. This is really just to try to knock some of the dirt down into and in between the roots. So that they can be snug and touching the soil, damp it down. Okay, let's see, let it go. Okay, little apple tree. So, like I was saying, this has 4 different apple varieties on it. It's got a Gordon apple, a Fuji apple, an Anna apple, and a Dorset golden apple. All of these varieties should do well in my zone. We're in zone 8A. If you're going to plant fruit trees, make sure that you know your zone. Your zone will determine how many chill hours you typically get a year, and that's important because if you plant a tree that requires more chill hours than your area, you'll never get fruit. Your tree may grow up big, lush, look very healthy, but you'll be disappointed if you're expecting fruit because it needs a certain number of chill hours to actually fruit out. I probably should trim that. Or it's a little broken. I'll probably come back and trim this just a little bit. But okay, y'all. We might be in business. Let's water this in real good. Oh, I said I was going to use this water because why waste the water? Whatever nutrients might have been leaching from their branches go right back in. Ooh, it stinks a little bit. You see it's got whatever residual dirt and beads were in the roots when they came, when they were delivered, are in there. What do y'all think? That's enough? I'll just put it all in there. So the other good thing about this tree, aside from allowing you to get multiple types of apples, is that it's letting me do it from one tree. A lot of times you need multiple trees to help pollinate each other. So I wouldn't be able to just get a Fuji apple tree and grow apples. I would need something else to help pollinate it. And these different types have been selected to help pollinate each other. So I can get apples in my yard with one tree instead of 2 or 3 trees. The other good thing is that they slightly stagger. They have slightly staggered. They have slightly staggered. Oh y'all, I don't feel good. What's the word? Anyway, they're gonna bear fruit at slightly staggered times. So once they're all going, then I should be able to get apples starting in the summer through the fall, and not just a lot of apples all at once of the same type. So I'm excited. Hopefully our trees do well. As you can see, they're already blossoming. At least this one is. The weather is starting to warm up. We usually have another cold front around Easter. So usually when we start warming up, we think, yes, it's all over. And then we'll get another cold snap in Easter. But assuming it doesn't do like last week, it should still just be a short spurt. And like I said, the apple tree can handle it. And the pomegranate, as long as it doesn't get too low, should be okay too. So, did I forget anything? I don't think so. All right, guys. We have our fruit trees planted. Thanks, guys. See you next time.